Hello, everyone. My name is Akul Bavari. I'm 17 years old, and next year I'll be attending SMU to study finance at Cox School of Business. A little background about myself. I am the financial advisor for four major healthcare practices in the city of Houston. I have worked in software consulting. I was an intern all of last year, and I've experienced some stuff. I experienced a good amount of different financial breakdowns in companies, but obviously I don't know everything. So with this series, I want to kind of give a spotlight to small businesses because those are the people who are really struggling right now. 47% of our economy is made out of small businesses. So what I want to do is give them a spotlight, give them as much advice as I can, and later in the show, I'm going to have some major executives from different companies and different people who've experienced more than I have, different titans of the industry, kind of give their insight on the situation so everyone can learn and expand our network inside of this terrible crisis that we're experiencing. So first, I want to introduce my first guest of the show ever, my good friend Ivan. So Ivan, here you go.
Hey, how you doing? My name's Ivan Salazar. I'm one of the owners of Fit Factor Houston. We are a personal training facility located in the Memorial area. We've been open for about 6 years, and I've been a personal trainer for about 8 to 9 years. And yeah, here we are. Thank you so much, Akul, for inviting me on your show, man. I'm excited to share a little bit of what has been our adventure and how we gotten to the point that where we are at today.
Yeah. So Ivan, I want you to first start off with explaining so you're a personal trainer, and what do you specialize in? Like, explain that. Like, what makes you different from other personal trainers?
Yeah, so we're not just your typical gym. We definitely cater to everybody. Everybody's needs and wants are totally different. But we specialize basic. It's just pretty basic. We look at posture. We look at all the systems. Then we also look at the way you're walking, your gait, central nervous system, your parasympathetic, sympathetic system, your lymphatic nodes, also your joints. We see how much range of motion you have on your joints. And our goal is to try to get you out of majority of the clients that we see are in constant pain. But we also see young athletes. Our ages range from anywhere from 10 all the way to 82. But our goal is to make humans function better, right? Mm-hmm. We've become a very sedentary society, so we don't move a lot. So we focus a lot of movement, mobility, flexibility, posture, respiratory system. And then, we also start looking at behavior patterns, right? Like the way people think, the way that they address things. So it's a lot of moving parts at our facility.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna give a little personal background. I've been training with Ivan for how long now? Like a year?
About a year?
Yeah, about a year. And to be honest, before I started training with Ivan, like he can advocate for this. I had like not much mobility in my back. I wasn't really like able to move as much. Like I've been playing sports my entire life, but just the different things that I've picked up on from his training is it's incredible. Like I used to have back pain every single morning when I woke up, and ever since I started training with Ivan, like my body has changed, my mobility has changed, the way I can move has changed. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it goes to what I was saying, like, right, everybody's different, right? But at the end core of our training, we just want to make sure that you're able to do everything that you want to do to the best of your ability, right? We don't want you to be like, oh, I'm afraid of doing this because I may get hurt. I don't want to do that because I'm not sure if I can do it. We want to empower you so that way you're able to be like, you know what, I got this, and my body's going to perform. My mind's going to perform. And at the end of it, I'm going to come out stronger.
Yeah. So I want to talk about how this virus has kind of affected you and the different things. Like I know it's affected so many people in our economy, but I want to zero in on what's happened with the gym. Like what have they forced you to do? Like how have your numbers changed a little bit? Can you give me a little insight on that?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is a tough situation. I get it. This is something new that we don't know how it works and how it spreads and all that stuff. A lot of stuff out there, we're just basically working on assumptions, right? And we're trying to figure out the best possible way to save a lot of people. with minimal, effect, right? But at the same time, a huge part of what's happening for us is we're a small business that is basically me and my brother. We own the business. There's no one backing us up. We have no huge corporation like a GE or like a Shell or like a Chevron. It's just whatever me and my brother put into the business is what's keeping us afloat. And I mean, this has hurt us a lot because, I mean, just based on numbers wise, I train about 60 hours a week. It's all come down to about 10, 12 hours a week now.
Yeah.
So that's a huge chunk of our income, right? And we solely live on monthly revenue, right? The reason why we do monthly revenue is because if we start selling a lot of long-term memberships, then what's going to end up happening is that's going to carry over, and we're not going to start seeing any money coming in until they finish those sessions, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's 3 trainers at the gym. Now we're doing video training 10 hours a week, right? But not only is that affecting our business, but it affects our lives in the matter of like, can we pay our rent? Can we pay our bills? Can we put food on the plate, right? So all those things that are things that we have to think about now daily because of the situation that we're in, right? Unfortunately, this is out of everybody's control, and everybody's trying to do the best that they can to minimize the casualties, but it's becoming a bigger casualty economically, right?
Yeah.
Because again, we don't have that huge amount of money. If, like, for example, if Shell's going to go under, the government's not going to let it go under, right? They're going to pump them with money and stuff like that. Now they've done plans where they're going to be like, okay, we're going to give this amount of money for small businesses, but it's not a guarantee either, right? It's first come, first serve. So that's also a big if. Like we're kind of in like stuck in limbo, right? We don't know what's going to happen. And I get it. We're all trying to be careful, but at the same time, we have to start thinking about a small business America. Like you said, it plays a huge part in our economics. I know right now we're about 20 million people unemployed. I'm not, I'm a contractor, so it's hard for me to file for unemployment. That's also a big thing, right? All the benefits that I do they come from me, not from somebody else. Unfortunately, this is a tough situation. I personally don't know all the answers, but I do know that if this goes on longer than 3 to 4 months, you're going to see a lot of people in poverty. And I mean, it's laughable, but it's true.
It's in my opinion, it's sad because every single night I'm watching Fox, CNN, all these different news networks, and no one is talking to these small businesses. As I said before, 47% of our economy is made out of small businesses, and no one's giving them a spotlight. Like the companies that I technically am the financial advisor for, we all are technically small businesses. According to the Paycheck Protection Act, the Paycheck Protection Program, if you're technically a small business that qualifies for this loan, if you have less than 500 employees. So I want you to think about the United States economy. We're almost a $273 trillion economy, probably more than that. I don't know the number off the top of my head. If 47% of those, 47% of that economy is small businesses, think about all those people that are being affected day to day. Like my mom, she's a doctor, and we have this conversation. I say, hey, how long is this going to go on? She said, obviously there's nothing we can really do right now except for mitigate the virus. But at some point when people aren't able to feed themselves and they can't feed their children, like she said, she actually got emotional. It was hard because she had to think about what people are going through, thinking that they can't put food in their children's mouths and how, like, she says, I don't care about myself. If you can't eat, that's the hardest thing that's going to be on myself. Like, it hurts because there is no deadline. There is no due date. And I haven't seen any single process that's trying to really help you guys get back to normal, help small business get back to normal.
And they've done plenty of studies of like the biggest influence in people's health is stress. And we don't know how to manage stress. So that's the biggest stress that you can put on somebody, especially anybody, is financial
Yeah,
freedom, right? Being able to
exactly.
support yourself and being able to buy the things that you want to buy and have the necessities, right? Because that's basically, we just want to be able to pay our necessities. Everything else after that is a luxury,
Hmm.
vacations, uh, cars and all that. But when you can't pay for a roof or you can't pay for a food or anything like that, that's when things get really scary, right? And
Yeah,
especially I'm not married, I don't have any kids or anything like that, but I can relate to that because my brother is married. He's got 2 kids under the age of 1, and that's
yeah,
scary, right? We don't want them to live in poverty, right?
exactly.
Especially coming from an immigrant background, right? Like
Yeah,
where my parents came here when I was 10 years old, and all I know is work. And if you work hard and you do the things that you got to do, you pay your taxes, you don't get in trouble, you don't do anything like criminally involved, you just stay on your path. And I mean, you live the American dream, right? But right
exactly.
now that American dream is in jeopardy for everybody, not just
Hmm.
for immigrants, but people that are born here, of all colors, and that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of hard work that's put in, I can relate to what you're saying too, because both my parents are immigrants. They came from India. My dad came in early '90s. He studied at University of Houston Clear Lake to get his master's, and to pay for his master's, he used to work the graveyard shift at this gas station in a really bad neighborhood. And he would tell he had this diary, and I read the diary one time, and I was coming into tears because I was like, this is the blood, sweat, and tears that my dad put in. And I know so many other people in our community have
Yeah.
put in to put themselves in position to really live the American dream. And in my opinion, the American dream is true. Like, this is one of the greatest countries in the world. I think it is the greatest country in the world. It provides the most opportunities to people. And it's sad to say that we can't live the American dream because there has not been any help from, like, obviously there's been a lot of work that's been done, and I understand that, and I get that, and we've made a lot of good things have happened through social distancing and through these different mitigation processes. But like we were talking about it the other day, your business, in my opinion, should be counted as essential. How are you supposed to expect people to stay healthy if they're not working out, they're not taking care of their bodies, and they're not able to eat healthy because they're forced to stay inside their house and eat foods that are technically non-perishable? Because, like, we have so many people here that are stocking up for years upon time, and they're not you can't stock up fresh fruits and vegetables for years upon time.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not going to work out in the long run. I think it's going to we had this entire conversation that in the long run, people are going to realize that, hey, I have less chance of being sick if I'm taking care of my body. So I want you to speak about that a little more, like how it will working out help you in the long run after this virus.
Yeah, so I think the a good outcome about what's happening right now is the fact that we have as a society in itself here in America, we have a very low standard of health,
Hmm.
right? And that's bad, right? Because the human body is the most complex machine out there. Nobody knows how to figure it out. I mean, there's just so many connections in the brain, and we've only tapped into maybe 20% of the brain. There's 80% of the brain that we don't really tap into. And again, now I'm getting all scientifical, but at the same time, it's like you have an immune system, right? If you're not, your immune system is to battle all diseases, right? Now, there's some things that like you your immune system is not going to be able to fight, right? Like cancer and
Hmm.
stuff that is very severe that you actually do need help. But for a lot of these diseases like obesity, diabetes, um, you know, a lot of these chronic illnesses can be cured by exercising, watching what you eat, and also practice health, like mental health as well, right? Um, and that's something that we don't, as a society, practice, right? We always live in the go, 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 but we never take a step back and like realize that, okay, maybe I shouldn't be drinking every Friday and Saturday night. Maybe I should have been smoking, so things like that are, I would say, are pleasures to a lot of people, are you're going to start seeing a lot of people trying to reconsider that aspect of health, right?
Hmm.
um, and I think yeah, like you said, my business is an essential part of society, because not only, so we train one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
so it's very personal. Not only that, but I'm hearing these people's life stories. I'm hearing their success, their failures. I'm hearing what their families are going through, their pains, their happiness. Then at the same time, it's also like I'm being a psychologist, right? I'm listening
Yeah.
to these people's problems and I'm helping them get through it by exercise, but maybe eating a little bit better,
Yeah.
by changing their way they see something from somebody else's perspective, right? And that's the beauty about my job. I connect with people in such a deep level that you become like their family.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to a lot of birthday parties, I've been to graduations. You know, I met the kids, I met the husbands, I met the grandparents. I mean, I met everybody, you know, and
Yeah.
you become part of their family. And it goes on, right? So that's the thing. So you're not just impacting somebody's life on a physical aspect, but it goes further than that, right? It becomes like you're also helping them mentally, right? Then you're also trying to not change the way they eat, but try to better themselves and get a little bit more knowledge about that.
Yeah.
So I think out of all this, when all this is said and done, I think we're going to have a higher standard of what healthy means.
Yeah. So let's break down the financials a little bit, because obviously this show is to get your story out there, but also kind of I want to be able to give you some advice, kind of get what you're going through, and people who are listening can kind of give their insight on comments, can come in and give insight. So I have you applied for the Paychex Protection Program?
We have. Again, it's now we're just playing the waiting game.
Yeah.
So many applications are being. We went to the bank, and the bank was actually not taking any personal applications. Everything has to be online, and basically they're gonna choose who gets it and who doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's nitpickings right now.
Yeah. So obviously there's not much that you can do with the legislation part of it. Like it's as you said, who gets it and who doesn't. But there's some other things that you can do. So I remember us talking about it as like you're planning on starting a blog, kind of, right? You
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about your blog.
Yeah. So basically, through all this is, you know, you kind of have to evolve, right? When
Yeah.
you're put in the tough situation, you either back down and you give up, or you just kind of rise up to the occasion and then you go from there, right? So a couple of ways we've kind of kept some sort of income is by training people online, and, you know, giving them different options for them to still be able to train with us, and for us to also get some income. But the blog is some idea that I was inspired by another one of my mentors, who said that you can reach out to people way more with a blog, information stuff, than, you know, saying like, hey, I'm offering
Sorry.
there you go. So you can reach out to more people than other than offering like, hey, here's 5 sessions online for $100, right? With a blog, you capture people's attention. Then they're get a little bit more interested about what you do, and it's free, right? We all like free stuff.
Yeah.
And at a time like this, it's important to start giving back, right? Because, you know, you don't want to. People are going through tough times. You don't want to be that guy that's like, hey, I'm selling you my product, but you're gonna have to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
So a blog is a good way to reach out to a lot of people that may not be able to afford the training, but it creates a sort of awareness about who we are and what we do. And I think that's more important than anything else, right? People realizing that, hey, we're still here. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to let this defeat us. We're not going to back down. And we're going to do our best to stay afloat and just keep grinding. And the blog is a great idea. I mean, it's easy, it's free. You write your opinion. Some people are going to like it, some people are not. And, you know, that's the beauty about it.
Yeah. So the way I think of it too is that you're technically putting out content every single day, and you're getting your message out there. And such a beautiful thing about the internet is that it reaches billions of people. Billions of people are on the internet constantly. Like me, for example, like I use my phone constantly throughout the day, and I'm going through different websites, I'm going through LinkedIn, I'm going through different articles, I'm just reading constantly. And I could find myself so deep inside of my phone, just, I don't even know how I got to an article. And,
Yep.
and I realized that, holy crap, this article has helped me, and I'll subscribe to it, and I'll be like, I'll start reading it more and more and more. So I think the most important part that you can do is put out that daily content and put out that daily message that you're trying to express to people, and people will see it. And for everyone who's watching this, the online training sessions will really help you and also Ivan at the same time. Like you're still getting active. There's only so much you can do in your house, but just a little bit of work at 2 times per week is more than doing nothing.
That's true. That's so true.
So then the way I want to think let's get down into the nitty gritty. So what I recommended for my business that I'm the financial advisor for is, so I work for a healthcare practice, and in healthcare, you get insurance statements, but insurance come a couple weeks down the line. So you have to plan in advance. And I know so I'm going to put a little pretense to this. Ivan is probably one of the smartest people with his money that I know. Ivan is, for all the work that he's done, this man is a mastermind with his money, and he's very safe. And I honestly am very impressed with the things that you've done to this day. It's amazing, and I applaud you for it, Ivan. I just wanted to say that first.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So the one thing I've recommended is that, obviously, with this Paycheck Protection Program, if you want to not pay the loan back, you have to spend all the money on rent, mortgage, insurance, essential needs for the business, and then payroll. But for us, so as you said, in the way the Paycheck Protection Program works, is contractors are different from technically your contractor. My company, they're full-time employees, but we do have some contractors. So contractors at our company will have to apply for it themselves, technically. So what happens is I've made the company go down what we need for the nitty gritty. Because this virus is affecting everyone. People think that, even though like healthcare is probably booming right now because there's so many people going inside the hospital. But if you think about it, most of these patients are COVID patients. Not all of these patients who don't have the normal needs, they're not letting them come inside the hospital anymore. So you have to adapt to the different situations. So what you're doing is great, that you're doing the video conferences. A lot of doctors have started using telemedicine and telehealth, which basically they're video conferencing their patient with the consent of the patient, and they're doing those clinical visits through video conference. And it's kind of switching over to a remote sense because we move fast every single day. So what thing that you can implement is go down to nitty gritty. What do you need? You and Fabian are the only, technically the most essential parts of this business of what you're doing. So both of you guys putting out your content, posting, saying, hey, we're still here. We still are very educated on this. You have you and Fabian have so many certificates in RFT and these different exercise abilities. And so what you can do is use the nitty gritty and kind of shift with the times. And so maybe at some point, whenever we can come back to this, what you can do is, hey, if you're traveling, we can still do video conferences. While you're in your hotel room or you're in your hotel gym, we can still do a video conference and have a workout session. So those people aren't missing it. So you implement the video conferences, things you learn. They say in every economic disaster, 10 billion-dollar businesses are born. What's saying that billion-dollar business isn't yours?
For sure.
Where you're using the ability to say, hey, I have this certificate in the way you can perform. For most of our workouts, I don't even think we use weights most of the time. We're mostly using our bodily functions. So you use, in the future, you use obviously the gym training sessions, but then also you implement video conferences at the same time. You're upping your client number and you're upping the amount of income that's coming into your bank account.
Correct. Yeah. And that's something that we're working on as far as creating a workout program for people to do online.
Yeah.
And that will be soon coming out. It takes a long time to write down all your thoughts, and then you have to videotape to demonstrate. But yeah, that's something else that we're also working on right now. So yeah, just be on the lookout for that. It takes time. It definitely, this time has made us realize that there's other avenues for us to get some revenue. Like I said, the blog, online training, online programming, and just other avenues that when since you're your own business owner, right, you're always in the water. You never take time to step back and be like, okay, I need to work on other aspects of my business for it to keep growing, right? Because if we want the business to grow, we need to have more people other than me and Fabian working at that place, right?
Exactly.
So we need to have more legs underneath us. So then that way, the more that we step back, the more that we can do business aspects of it. So we added Doug, which is great. And now we're looking to add 2 more other trainers to hopefully give us a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
And at the same time, grow the business in that aspect.
Yeah. So as I was saying before, like right now you're only cutting down to nitty gritty. You want to cut most overhead the things that you're spending on to like keep your finances on the low, because right now it's like, hey, a lot of people are starting to they're running paycheck to paycheck during this time, when before, like, they were bringing in massive amount of income because everyone was on a normal basis. So it's a wake up call. And it's also a call to say like, hey, okay, maybe I should diversify my assets of where I'm getting my flow of income from. Because obviously you want to be able. So I'm reading Salman Fertitta's book right now, and he emphasizes liquidity. You want to be able to have liquidity in Ivan, I think your video just went out. Okay, there it is. You want to be able to have liquidity in these times when it gets tough. And the way it comes in is like, maybe, as you said, the online training, the blogs and stuff like that. And you're exactly right. You and Fabian at some point, this is a wake up call. Like, hey, now that we've experienced some of the worst that small businesses have seen in a long, long time, now we can take a step back and say, hey, how are we going to expand ourselves from this position to make sure that we don't have to go through this again? And that's the exact same part. So I think that the blog is great. Online training sessions great. You mentioned the online program where you can film and everything, and you say, oh, like all those things. Like Bradley Martin, he's a trainer out in LA. He owns his own gym. He has the online training program too. And so things like that are exactly what's going to put you ahead of others, which I think is great.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So do you have anything else to say? Do you want to give a quick shout out to your brother, anyone else that works in the gym?
Man, I honestly want to give you a shout out, man. I really appreciate you. I mean, the work you've done, and I mean, you're always looking out for us. I mean, like I said, I've met you almost like about a year and a couple months ago, and watching you grow and watching you chase your dreams, and it's amazing. And that's the beauty about what I do, right? It's I get to meet people from all different backgrounds, and then watch them kind of like blossom into their own, right? But man, big shout out to you. I know you got a lot of big things coming ahead of you, and you just got to stay on it.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you. So I'm going to include all your information underneath the video with where they can find you, your Instagram, the location of the gym, like stuff like that. And so please give Ivan a shout out. He's doing online training sessions right now. And yeah, thank you for your time, Ivan. And you'll see the video up later today.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right. See ya.